Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturns. Part of my club assignment was to prepare us for Beads of Courage participation. Beads of Courage is a program that it helps kids who are undergoing severe long-term illnesses in hospitals that get awarded a bead when they undergo a difficult procedure, and then they take it back to the room and put it in their own Beads for Courage box. Now this is a stave construction. As a Beads of Courage box can be almost any type of construction that you want, but I thought it would be good to do a stave one this time. I've done staves before, but not at the scale, and I was never quite happy with the cutting process. So I had to do some work, had to make some mistakes, but still, it's an interesting box, and it came out just fine, and I think it'll make a kid very happy. So let's turn it.
In contrast to ring segmenting, this project will use stave segmenting. A wedgie sled is great for ring segments, but will not do staves since the grain orientation is 90 degrees different. Instead, I'm using a sled that I designed for triple inside-out staves. The sled is a simple piece of plywood with universal T-track running perpendicular to the blade. The sled rides in a miter guide in the miter slot that is opposite to the blade tilt. Project wood butts against a board at the front. As is, there is no way to set the width of the board to cut since I cannot use my rip fence. Instead, I have another simple jig that rides in the other miter slot. The boards in the slot are adjustable so it becomes an auxiliary rip fence. To reduce waste and provide more clamping surface on the sled, I glue boards side to side. Then I cross-cut the boards to about the length of the stave that I need. Therefore, please observe that the grain on these boards is running across the narrow measure. I also again cut the boards against the rip fence to ensure a consistent stave length. After setting the saw blade to 15 degrees for a 12-sided polygon, I take each glued-up board, clamp it onto the sled with the hold-down clamps, and rip one edge to the correct angle. This looks like a huge pile of boards because I am sawing for 3 boxes. When I showed this clip at our club meeting, people laughed at my zero clearance throat plate. Absolute zero clearance does not matter with this sled, but I need room to tilt the blade. This throat plate is cheap, easily made, and serves any angle. I position the auxiliary rip fence to a 2-inch width, which should yield a 6-inch inner diameter of a 12-segment glue-up. Using the auxiliary rip fence, I set the width and clamp the board. Then, to prevent binding, I remove the auxiliary rip fence and make the cut. After the blade stops, I replace the auxiliary rip fence, clamp the wood in a new position. It is very important to flip the wood over before clamping, then make the next cut. Repeat for as many staves as necessary. An extra stave is insurance against having to set up again. These are ready to start the glue process. As a double check, I set up my staves to check the fit and alignment. Then start by gluing pairs together using the rub joint technique. I spread a bead of glue and rub the wood together and check for complete glue coverage. Then a bit more rubbing until the glue starts to grab. After checking the position, particularly against the bottom and the long side, I carefully set the pair aside for a few minutes. Now to glue 2 sets of pairs the same way, and then glue sets together into half barrels. Then stop and let glue dry a little bit longer since the next operation will stress the joints more. Managing the additional pairs is tricky. Malcolm Tibbetts shared a DIY clamp that he uses. His is a scrap board with a pair of bolts and wing nuts. One is clamped to each partial barrel. Then rubber bands provide adequate clamping pressure while maintaining their position. Mine is 3D printed, since I can. At this point, any angle error and gluing error is manifested in the half rings. Now is the opportunity to resolve this problem. This is much easier than attempting to fine-tune the saw angle. I have a sanding plate from the MDF and a threaded faceplate. This one is for my small lathe, but works great here also. After making witness marks, I sand each half until the marks disappear. With fine-tuning complete, I can spread glue and clamp it all together with band clamps. When dry, it is a good idea to clean up the ends with that sanding disc. I made 2 tapered faceplates from MDF to fit inside the barrel. My stave barrel is now a large spindle turning. I can round off the box. Now is a good time to cut oversized tenons at each end. I did not do it on this one and paid for the omission later since I had to fit a mortise to tenons, which is much harder than fitting a tenon to a mortise. The tenons can be fine-tuned later after the matching mortise is ready. I made a mistake with the length of my staves. They are too long. I should have trimmed them earlier before the glue-up. Now to correct this, I have hot melt glued the box barrel to 2 faceplates. Then with a parting tool, cut most of the way through the side. When close, I finished with a pole saw. With the barrel still mounted, it is a good time to do hollowing if desired. My question is, would a sick child care if the inside were round or a polygon? Initially, I thought to leave it with a bit of sanding and finish, but changed my mind and hollowed it. Now the cherry base is mounted to a small faceplate. I used the center mark and live center to position it. It is held in place with double-stick tape since I will need access to the center a bit later. I've seen many others use a worm screw here, but to me, a worm screw is excessive hassle to drill the right size at the right depth and risk it working free. Why not use something other than a chuck if it makes turning easier? For now, I need to cut a mortise and shape the bottom with a taper from near the edge to the mortise. Then sand and finish this bottom side with wipe-on poly. With the base reversed using that mortise on the flip side, I can shape the top side. Primarily, this is to cut a mortise that will accommodate the tenon on the bottom side of the barrel. This is where I did fit the mortise to the tenon, but the opposite is much easier. The mortise extends entirely to the center, then shape the rim, then sand and apply finish except where glue will be needed. Then trim the barrel tenon to fit and glue it together. A change of plan has been the fine-tuning of the barrel tenon now. The barrel is glued to the base. A faceplate on the live center provides insurance for that shallow mortise used to mount the project. This enables access to the tenon on the upper side. Cut rough now, I fine-tune it later. For the lid, the wood is pressed directly against the closed jaws of a chuck with live center pressure. Again, no worm screw required. The difference this time is that I will not need free access to the center. Instead of a mortise, I'm cutting a shallow tenon. Then reverse the wood onto that tenon. Here I want a mortise that will become the joint between the sides and the lid. Then shape the underside. Part of the underside shaping is another shallow mortise. Then sand and apply finish to this side. Reverse the lid yet again into that decorative mortise on the underside. This exposes the top side for shaping. Then sand and finish here also. One Beads of Courage box is finished. I started 2 more in preparation for the club demonstration. I learned a lot from preparing and discussion at the club. I think this is a worthy cause, a way to support kids who need every break they can get. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my website because my notifications are more reliable than YouTube's for new videos. Please tell your friends about my weekly videos. I appreciate your comments and questions. Please wear your full face shield whenever the lathe is running. So, are you wearing it?